Thank you for clicking on my personal development videos. Over the next few weeks I'm going to be uploading a series of videos that cover confidence building, anger management, self-esteem, assertiveness, panic attacks. The list actually goes on and on and on. What will be really helpful for me is if you can comment below some of the things that you'd like me to cover or some questions you may have. It'll certainly make these videos a little bit more interactive. I say these are free. The reason why that is, for 13 years I've been working within the mental health sector as a tutor, and I've taught so many courses that I think it's over nearly 7,000 clients that have been on my courses. But there are the people who have been able to get out of the house to do stuff, and I do realise that a lot of people are still sort of housebound, or a lot of people have had bad experiences at other groups or one-to-one sessions, and these are made so they can be accessed from the home or on mobile devices wherever they are. So today it's going to be based on anger management, and I don't want you to be put off by that you may be suffering from anxiety or stress and think, well, actually I haven't got anger isn't a part of my life. I don't want to say I'm going to prove to you that this is, but anger is normally a natural healthy emotion, but if we actually don't deal with it, it can tend to build up. So today that's what we're going to focus on, and I want to start off by giving an example. And here's one of my first ever clients, and now I'm going to tell you a bit of a story. I'm going to change some of the details, but at the time I did say to him, can I use your story, because it can be really helpful for me in future courses, because it sums up how we can go from a calmish situation into irrational behaviour with just anger, and it is all to do with stress. So this gentleman, he got up in the morning and his alarm actually didn't wake him up, so he woke up late. He jumped into the shower, and that is when he discovered that his hot water wasn't working. He had a cold shower. He got dressed, he ran down to the car, turned the key, and the engine didn't start. Lucky enough he was with the AA, so he phoned the AA up. They come down and they jump started his car for him. He drove all the way to, I nearly said the location, he drove to his work, and his boss, as he walked in, his boss had to go at him, and he turned around and said, no, this has happened a few times now, this is unacceptable behaviour, I'll have a word with you at lunchtime. So all morning he's sitting there getting stressed out. God, what's he going to say? Is he going to fire me? So his stress levels were already building up. He goes for the meeting, and the boss doesn't really go into it that much. He doesn't have a go at him a big time. He just tells him he's really got to watch his timing, and they agreed that he will stay half an hour after everyone else has gone home that night to do some extra work to catch up with the time he missed in the morning. He's still got about half an hour left of his lunch. He goes down to his car, and he's going to drive over to the fast food place over the road. He turns his key and the car won't start, and lucky enough there's some people in the yard, and they come on and they push start his car for him, and he drives over to the takeaway drive-through. So he's sitting in the queue waiting for the drive-through, makes his order. They say, okay, go to the next window, and he goes to pay, and he hasn't got his wallet. He's left his wallet at home, so he has to go all the way back to work. Nothing to eat, and he works for the rest of the afternoon. His mood's getting worse, his stress levels are building up, and everyone in the office leaves, and now he's working his extra half an hour. He finishes it, he locks the door, goes down to the yard, everybody's gone. He puts the key in the car, and the car won't start. At that time, he called down the breakdown company. They come out, but they charged him £25 for the same call out in the same 24 hours. Then he had to drive home. On the drive home, he got stuck in traffic, and his stress levels were getting more and more went up as he was getting closer and closer to home. So the first thing he does, he gets home, he goes and grabs his wallet, and he walks up to the town centre where there's another fast food place that was really, really busy, and he ended up queuing up outside for 45 minutes to get to the till. He places his order, and he's got his tray of his food, and as he turns around, somebody bumps into him, and he knocks all his food onto the ground. Because his stress levels are so high, instead of just accepting that and moving on with replacing the food, he punched the gentleman in the face. The gentleman went down, and he started kicking that person, and he ended up being arrested. It had a very, very serious consequences, and say he ended up coming for me for anger management. But I found that he wasn't a very angry person. It was just a series of events where he didn't deal with them correctly at the time. At any time on the way to work, from having such a bad start, he had the opportunity to relax and to filter out of that some of that anger. Now, when he got to work, he's faced with another situation. His boss was having a go at him. I guess the boss didn't make it clear that he wasn't in that major trouble, so he sat there stressing over it. His thoughts become irrational, and then obviously when he got didn't get the takeaway, it went up another level. So if you imagine it as a scale, when he woke up in the morning, he was probably on about 1 or 2. Now he come out of the shower from a cold shower, he went up to like a 3 or 4. Then the car pushed him up to a 5. Then the boss was 6. Then the takeaway, not having his wallet, was 7 or 8. Then 9 when the car wouldn't start again once he finished work. And 10 was when he lost all the food in the restaurant. And that is when you go into that area of 10, that's where we get into the rage or the blackout. That's when we're not always in control of our behaviour. So for this gentleman, we went through of how would you manage it differently. And obviously there's a lot of regret there. And he said, well, I don't know how. I didn't know how to manage that, because when things happen to me like that, I tend to hold it all in. I curl up like a spring, and then I release it all in one go, one big burst of energy. So we went through techniques of how to self-manage that. So to start recognising his body when he was getting stressed. And it's very easy to, when you look at somebody and they're getting more and more angry. We recognise it before they do. Their tone of voice will change. Sometimes you see like little veins pop up in their head, or their skin tone changes to some more redness as all the blood is rushing. They might start clasping their hands. So they move into a high state of anxiety along with their anger. So you'll see the things like their more rapid movements for their body. And it matches their speed of their talking. So if we actually recognise that in ourselves and we feel our body changing, we can then recognise that we're actually getting more and more stress, and we can actually put a plan of action in to reduce that. And one of the simple ones that I use that I find really does work is just cranking on my favourite song as loud as you can and sing along to it. I had another gentleman that one of his anger triggers was being stuck in traffic on the way to work. And he'd been going over the Dartford Bridge, but also traffic lights. Every time he got stuck in the traffic light, his anger just built up to it's uncontrollable. By the time he got to work, one of his work colleagues, if I only got to say the wrong thing, he was jumping down their throat. And he wasn't a nasty person, just that his anger trigger, was being stuck and held up in traffic. So we looked at that, what he can do. Well, one of the techniques we've used, that every time we see a red light, it wasn't holding him up. It was actually giving him time to relax. So we went through this period where we had to change his belief system about that, because if he went on being more and more went up, he wasn't right. His driving became irrational. He wasn't focused on his work when he got there, and so his work was suffering. He was being unpleasant to his work colleagues, and I say he wasn't a nasty person. So we went through these techniques of every time he'd sit in the car and a traffic light would come up, he'd literally stretch back, stretch out in the car, because there's nothing he could do about it. He was actually, those traffic lights weren't going to just change because he was approaching them. Once they're red, they're red. You can't do nothing about it. There's no other answer apart from waiting. And that is what was building up his stress. So we changed it around that instead of thinking he's being held up by these red lights, they're actually telling him to relax. So every time he see a red light, he was to relax, stretch out, being given the gift of time. On his day, he's rushed off his feet all day at work. But on the journey to work, he gets time to relax. So it's just changing that thought pattern that, it'd be great if he went to work and it was all green, he'd have a lovely day. But if he's been held up with these traffic lights, instead of them seen as an evil thing and a stress builder, they were there to help him calm down and to make sure he wasn't making irrational decisions. So every time you see the traffic light, he pressed play on his CD player, he put his favourite song on, stretched out for, 2-3 minutes. Some traffic lights are longer if you're going through London. And when he got stuck in traffic, again, he knew he couldn't do nothing about it. Even though he was late for an appointment or getting to work, there was nothing he could do about it. So it's changing that belief that he was going to be late and all this was going to happen, to saying, I can't change this. I'm stuck in this traffic jam. I can't make my car fly. So I've got to manage where I am now. So what is there around me that I can change? Well, your thought pattern. Again, you've been given the gift of time. You're being held up. I know it's frustrating to be in a traffic jam, but if we change our view about it, that, you know what, there's nothing I can do about this. I'm here if I like it or not. So let's make the most of it. So again, putting the radio on, relaxing when you can, and it changed his mood. So when he was getting to work after that, and it was quite a quick turnaround for him, he come in sort of like 1 or 2 weeks later and said, it's brilliant. I'll get to work and I'm not wound up anymore. Every time I get to a traffic light, I put put the brake on and I stretch out, I relax, I hum songs to myself, I put the radio on, have a good sing along, and it completely changed his mannerisms when he got to work. He was getting to work relaxed. So one of these things is, when we say that, what we need to look at is our belief system. Is there anything in our life where, if we look at the opposite side to it, is there something that we can change, or our expectation of things? He started off by expecting that he could get in the car, drive to work, and there'd be no hold-ups. And sometimes it's our expectations that cause us that anger, and our stress levels to creep up that turn into anger. So imagine you plan a day out with the children, and you're looking forward to it. It's going to cost you quite a bit of money, but in your idea, say you can go to Alton Towers, and it's quite a long drive away, but you're excited. I'm treating the kids. I've earned my money, and this is how I want to spend it. First of all, the kids get up in the morning and they're late. Won't put their shoes on. You open the door and it's a little bit raining. So already that's going against what you thought. In your mind, you had this vision of this perfect sunny day where you was going to spend with the family. You end up sitting in a few bits of traffic on the way up there, and you get there. The rain hasn't stopped. Your favourite rides are not working. The kids start screaming, crying. They're not getting what they want. You haven't got. You've sort of lost focus with the kids, so you're not really thinking about their enjoyment. Now, also, the day is ruined. So everything they say, they start getting on. Feel like they're getting on your nerves because your stress level's gone past normal now, because the day hasn't gone as planned. You had this dream vision of what your day was going to be like. Because it hasn't gone to how you thought, you can't handle it. This has gone against your beliefs that I can do this. Everything should be like this. Everything should be perfect. When I make plans, it's destroyed if the littlest thing goes wrong. Instead of having the view of okay, we're going to go to Alton Towers today, and I know it's busy, and I know the weather isn't great, and I know we're going to get stuck in traffic, but we're going to make the best of it as we can. And I know the kids are going to play up and they're going to argue with each other. If we have that expectation, we can start to manage that already, like a little bit of micromanagement. Of saying, well, when the kids play up, I just got to not let them get on with it, but not let it ruin the whole day. So somewhere along the line, they're going to have an argument. So it's not that you're predicting a negative outcome for the day, but when things don't quite go to plan, you're not beating yourself up and thinking you're a failure, that the whole world's against you. Why can't we, like other families, go off and have a really happy day? My kids are so badly behaved. Well, no, they've been stuck in a car for hours driving up to Alton Towers. They're going to get stressed. And it's an unrealistic view that they're going to be the perfect angels driving up there, and that every ride is going to be open when you get there. There's going to be stresses. And by identifying them before we go, now saying we're not predicting that we're going to have a bad time, but don't put that high expectations that this is going to be the perfect outcome. And that's a bit like setting goals, Goals should be set small. and anything above that is bonus. So you set yourself a small goal. So if we take the Alton Towers trip, if the kids got to South Mean a service station without killing each other, that's a bonus. That's goal one. And then we look at the next goal. Okay, well, let's see if they haven't started ripping the back of the seat of the car out, or no. It's little levels. We break these goals down into a small, manageable level. So instead of seeing it as the big picture of having this full, perfect day, if you break it down, when you do get a success, that you get to South Mims and all the kids are really happy, you think, that was good. You know, perhaps today is going to be okay. But let's wait till we get to the next bit. Let's see how far we can get before they start arguing. The most important thing, when they do argue, you don't jump on them like, oh, no, I knew this was going to happen. You just obviously manage the here and there. What can you do to solve that situation? And sometimes it'd be, right, no one talk. You both got devices and to watch or anything like that. Or, you know, back in the old days, you used to play the games. You spot the cars as they go past and how many red cars you can see. And one of the, I think the problems is now, we don't communicate as families. When we go out for a day, the easiest thing to do is slap in the back of a car. Some cars have got these video screens on there. So we're not communicating with our kids. So we're not enjoying the experience of going away together. It's that destination is the final objective. Instead of the enjoyment of like, great, you know, we've got to go on a road trip for a long time to get somewhere. If we use that as part of our day, our stress levels will be kept down all the way through. So once you're at, say, Alton Towers and some of the rides are not working, you go, okay, some of the rides are not working, but what is? What can we still do? And it's about changing that thought pattern of, okay, that's not available, but what else is? And trying to keep a positive spin on it. And what would the aim of that is to stop our heart rate rising or our blood pressure building. So, and that's just by changing our view of something. Life is full of stresses. You know, we are told that we're meant to have these 2.4 children, and you know, everyone's got to have mobile devices, and you've got to have home internet, and you know, you've got to own your own home, and you know, maybe a second house that you've got another income from, and we're all meant to have great jobs. Life isn't like that. A lot of people do. A lot of people are very lucky. They go through life from A to B and they don't have no problems. But that's unrealistic to expect that everyone's going to be like that. And life can be rough. You can wake up one morning and your whole life has changed. And I'm not asking everyone to run around and expect the worst is going to happen. But life is, as I say, is a bit like a roller coaster. And it's full of ups and downs. And you've got to take the rough with the smooth. And sometimes it's not overreacting when small things go wrong. Because in your life, you will be challenged with some horrible decisions or horrible things that happen to us. And it's about keeping things in perspective. So if you're going out for a day trip with the kids, you just think, I'm not expecting my kids to be perfect. I'm not expecting this to be the perfect day. But let's just make the most of it as we can. And that lowers our expectations of the day. And you can bet that you're probably going to have a more fun time. Now that rolls on into your life as well. If you aim for a massive target, and great, I love setting goals. I love people to achieve their goals. But I'm not saying people set unrealistic goals, but they'll only aim for the major big goal instead of breaking it down into smaller manageable bites. So say somebody, they want to get their perfect job. And it may take 4 or 5 years to go through college for it. And they start getting more and more stressed that, oh, this is taking forever. Instead of thinking, well, that's great. I've done another 6 months at college. I've done a year at college. And literally patting themselves on the back for doing that. And their bigger goal will actually become more manageable. And they'll be happy when they get there. And their expectations are that the whole world isn't going to change for them immediately when they hit that target. Because they've had these smaller successes as they've built up. So they've been working for a long time to their goal, but they've been able to praise and get reward from themselves every time they've hit a small stage of the first year, the second year, and they celebrate it. We don't praise ourselves enough in our own lives. And sometimes that does lead to more stress and more anger. We don't realise the achievements that we make. We should be proud of that more. So with anger, things build up. If we also had that to the lack of self-praise, not burning off that energy, that anger builds. So when we get into a rage state, we build up like the adrenaline. When we have a big outburst of anger, we will feel weak and emotional after. So if we go into the rage mode, that's because our body's burnt out, it's exhausted. Now the side effect of adrenaline going through your body is extreme tiredness afterwards. And so when you get to that rage state, and this adrenaline is pumping through your body. Now a lot of people do black out during that time. No, I don't mean they collapse on the floor, but they can't remember what they did. And some people are capable of extreme violence when their anger gets to that stage. For other people, they hold all that anger in. So they could go 3-4 times Thornton Towers and they don't lose their temper at all. But inside they're thinking that they're a failure, that they can't have a good day out, that their family's strange or weird, they always argue, and they beat themselves up for it. I wish we was like other families. Their self-worth gets affected, and that leads to other health problems. Now it can lead to things like depression and more anxieties. So it is a case of managing, recognising when your body is showing signs of anger and stress, and it can be the smallest thing. It could be that all of a sudden you feel like you get a flutter in your chest, or you start grabbing your hair a little bit, like you're more focused, or your voice changes. And if we learn to recognise that in ourselves, because I say other people are recognising it, you can't kid other people. And sometimes you think, well, I weren't stressed. I didn't. You were. You just didn't recognise it. And that's one of the key importance for things like anger management. Anger comes when we've been hurt. And that's quite a shock. People, well, no, because my anger comes and that person winds me up. Well, that person winds me up. No, that's because you have a different point of view to that person. So if we imagine we're late for something and we jump into a car, we go to the petrol station and there's this great long queue. And we're waiting patiently. We're tapping our feet, getting a bit irate about it. And then somebody pulls in, fills up, walks past the queue, chucks his money over the counter and walks out and speeds off across the forecourt, cutting up a few cars. We all called him names. Oh, what here? And you probably, you might even changed him with anger that he's done that. How dare you jump the queue? And queue jumping is seen as like the big no-no, impolite, rude. And his driving was like stupid. And we start calling him all these names. But what we don't do is ask why he was driving like that. And in that situation, that person was trying to get their dad to a hospital quite far away for a heart transplant. And he wasn't thinking about getting in the queue, waiting. That was a case of life or death. But if everyone else in that petrol station, they're calling all the names under the sun. Because sometimes we don't actually think that other people have lives, that things can go on in their lives that are a little bit more important than us. So if we get caught up at a roundabout, I'm not saying that that person wasn't an idiot and he drives irrational all the time. I'm talking about somebody different at the roundabout, not the person at the petrol station. So if you're on your way to work and somebody cuts you up and you start getting aggressive and you may even chase him, we're not asking that question and wonder why he's doing it. Has he had bad news? Has he got a child that's in hospital? Is he just going for a marriage breakup? It's no excuse for his poor driving. But by thinking that, what you're stopping your own heart rate from increasing. So you're actually going to keep your stress levels down by just thinking slightly different. So if you imagine that, on the way to work, somebody cuts you up and you go after him, oh no, you idiot, you're swearing and you're giving all this abuse, you're giving signs out the window. And if we don't do that, if we just think something must be going on in his life that's causing a lot of irrational thing. And I say, it doesn't matter if that's not true. No, probably the truth is that person is just driving, I won't swear, aggressive, yeah, not thinking. But if we think that, we're going to get more wound up about it. But if we think, oh, I'm glad I'm not him, there must be something going on in his life to act like that, then it's going to stop our stress levels from rising. We're not going to lose the anger, lose the plot. We're not going to go into anger mode. We're not going to go into rage mode. It won't affect our day. Consequences are very, very severe. If you lose your temper with a car, you're driving a lethal weapon. If you chase someone with that, you know, and what are you going to do? You're going to ram him when you get there? Are you going to jump out your car? Now, if you jump out your car and you get seen doing that, you'll get arrested for that. And that's your day ruined. That could be your career ruined. So again, it's about those consequences so that you recognise these signs and that you start changing your belief system, that when you see someone doing something that you don't agree with, instead of getting riled up by it and losing your temper, you think, okay, well, I wonder why he's done that. Okay, perhaps this is going on, perhaps that is going on. And again, the idea is to stop your own stress levels from building. You know, and I say it doesn't matter that that person is actually an idiot. It's about changing our belief, because we don't need that person letting him ruin our life by his bad driving. You know, if we overreact to it, there's a great video online at the moment where, I'm not going to say a name again, but he chases after a biker, and it's very clear that the biker is actually doing things on purpose to wind him up. But you can see he's getting to that guy. And eventually the guy pulls over, gives him loads of abuse. And he says, do you know who I am? And it become a viral video. Even Newsnight done "Who Are You" on there and just changing it. And yeah, they put sort of James Bond, and I can't say, I'm not going to say the name of the person that was involved in it, but they swapped it around. Just by that guy losing his temper on the road, he's stuck on BBC News. You know, he didn't. That wasn't what his day was going to be expected to turn out like. And generally, with people like that, or maybe the person at the restaurant that end up kicking somebody, that stress has been building up for a very, very long time. It could be years. They could be suppressed it for a very long time, and finally they've exploded. And we have to be careful that doesn't happen in our lives. You know, stress of work and money can lead to a lot of complications in relationships and marriages. If you're having a bad day at work and your work causes you a lot of stress, and then you come home and it could be, I always say, one of the things I've noticed a lot, frozen peas. And people laugh at that. Frozen peas must be one of the biggest contributions to divorces. And the reason why that tends to happen is that the partners, they both come home from work, or one of them's been at home all day and the other one's come in, and they're both stressed. They've both had a busy day, and things have probably not gone right for everyone. So they're sitting there and they're about to have dinner, and the frozen peas are not on the plate. They're sitting in the microwave. That is enough to trigger a massive argument. And that won't say focus on the frozen peas. Everything from the past gets thrown out. Now they go off track. The anger comes out, and again, that can lead to more relationships breaking up, and and children's futures being destroyed. And we want to make sure that on our way home, if we've had a busy day, we do something to relax us before we get there. We should make it a plan to walk through that door and say, how are you? Everything okay today? Ask how the other person is before we focus on ourselves again. And if you both do that, you'll find that when you come home from work, you both won't be stressed. You'll be getting on better. On your journey home from work, you have the gift of time. You know, you get into, one of the important things is you get into the vehicle, or you get on the bus and you put some music on. Again, your favourite songs. you relax to it. You've finished work now. What's happened at work now shouldn't affect you for the rest of the evening. We need to learn that better, to shut off, put our boundaries in. And that's something, I'll be honest with you, that I have struggled with. Now, in my job, there's certain things that I use when I come out from clients and it's been quite a heavy course or something like that. I will get in my car, I go like that, brush myself down, I put the radio on, or my CD, my favourite music, and I'll sing along driving home. I come home, the first thing I do is change my clothes. So I'm actually I'm decluttering what I'm wearing. It's almost as if like the dirt that I can pick up from other people, I'm getting rid of that off. I'm putting fresh clothes on. Some people can jump in the shower, and that again is quite a relaxing thing to do. But we don't always get that chance because we get in and the dinner's about to be ready, or you got to go and cook dinner, and so you're quite stressful. What we don't need is the added stress of the day adding to that. So if we can try and relax and up our mood by the time we get home, we lessen the chances of progressing through our anger stage. So during the day, if we don't manage it properly, we can get in that car around about a 7 to come home on the anger scale. It's only got to take something to happen on the way home, get held up in a bit of traffic, and again, the dinner your dinner gets mucked up, or the kids have been playing up, and that pushes you into 9 and 10. So again, you have the opportunity there on the way home to reduce your stress levels, and it's really important we do that. And these are just very simple tools that you can use to actually make a very big difference in your life. By changing the way we believe about things. So when somebody acts irrational in front of you, you wonder why they've done that instead of just calling them names. It's just managing the situation. And that's not always a good thing, especially when we start dealing with like anxieties and those sort of situations. But with anger, it's about breaking it down in situations that we can stop. So if we stop getting wound up about the traffic lights, if we stop getting wound up by people jumping queues, and by focusing on say, oh, I wonder what's up with them, or they're having a bad day, again, ourselves won't get as wound up. Okay, well, thank you for listening, and hit subscribe on just below, and say it will notify you when I'm on my next one. There's actually a little bell there now that if you click that, it tells you when I upload my next video. Again, my channel is a bit of a mix, and there's some fun videos on there, and the reason why I do that, it goes back to what I just said about relaxing. So my job can be quite sad sometimes, and I do hear some unpleasant stories, and that is part of my therapy of relaxing. So I will do community videos, I help out in the community because I get enjoyment from it. It is a form of relaxing for me, and it's important that going forward that you find something that you really enjoy doing, and then that will also help you, lower your stress levels and reduce the risk of you moving into the anger stage. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time.